Configuring storage on Hyper-V host server. Now storage means what? The virtual machine hard disk of the virtual machine. So in Hyper-V, we have the virtual machine hard disk, different formats of virtual machine hard disk, and all those will be .vhd. So .vhd is the virtual hard disk for the Hyper-V virtual machines. We have VHD, VHDX, and VHDS. Now VHD is the normal one. It is the we can say it is the old one. That means in previous versions of Hyper-V, it was used as a .vhd only. It has the less features, less size of the storage. It gives less size of the storage than the VHDX, but it's supported in the previous versions and also in the latest versions of Hyper-V. So VHD is supported on all versions, latest and old versions both. Now we have the VHDX format, which is only supported in the latest version because this is the latest extension we have, and it supports the large amount of storage. It supports the different features also. So if we use the VHDX, if we create any virtual machine in 2016 server, then it will by default create the virtual disk as a VHDX format, and it will give you the option to create VHDX or VHD. If we create VHDX, that means our machine will only will be supported in new versions like 2016. It will not go back to the old versions. It will support under 2016, 2012. It will not go to support on the old versions. Then we have VHDS. This is actually differencing. This is actually the differencing snapshot disk. So when we create the snapshot checkpoints, it uses this VHDS format. Now what are the virtual disk types we have? So when we create the virtual disk, we have two options. We have these three options, like first four options actually. We have fixed size. Fixed size, that means the size. Suppose if we give the 10 GB of the virtual disk size, then it will allocate the whole 10 GB from our storage, and it will use the 10 GB at the same time. It will allocate at the same time 10 GB. It is not going to use it. It is going to allocate the whole 10 GB space, and it is what? Fixed size. Dynamically expanding, that means if suppose we create this the hard disk of virtual disk of 10 GB, so it will not take the whole, it will not allocate the whole 10 GB at the same time. It will allocate based on the requirement. So if it is required to have 10 GB, or then it will use the 10 GB maximum from our local storage. Otherwise it will not use the whole space. It will not allocate the whole space. The space will be it will remain available for us to use. It will expand the disk dynamically as it is required. Then we can have the pass-through disk, or we can have the differencing disk. Pass-through disk is actually used. Pass-through disk is used. We create disk under the other disk. That means we create a virtual disk inside another virtual disk. And the differencing disk. Now differencing disk is actually we create a copy of the disk. We create one disk actually, and in that disk we use the one disk as a parent disk, and we create a copy of the multiple copy of that parent disk, and it is called, we can say it is a child disk. Now in this differencing format, what is do here actually, it will do the changes, it will change when we do the changes. So changes will remain under the child and the parent will remain intact. So whatever the changes we do, it will affect the child, but the parent disk will remain same. Now what that means and how we do use this, or how we create this. So we can use and create this from the Hyper-V manager. For example, so this is our virtual machine manager, Hyper-V manager. When you go to click on new, you have the option to create the hard disk. So when you select the hard disk creation, so it opens this wizard, and then when you go next, it says what you want to create. You want to create VHD, that is supports a virtual disk up to 2 GB, 2000 GB in size, or you want to create VHDX. Now by default it is selected VHDX because we are under server 2016, and what it says that this format support the virtual disk up to 64 TB and is resilient to consistency issues that might occur from power failures, and this format is not supported in operating system earlier than Windows Server 2012. So only Windows Server 2016 and 12 we can use this VHDX. Then we have the VHDS, that is shared. So this format is for shared virtual disk only and enable backup of virtual machine groups using shared virtual hard disk. And this format is also not supported in operating systems earlier than Windows 10. Now when you go next, then you will select the type. Now this is the type we have. We have this fixed size, dynamically expanded, and we have differencing size. If we select VHD, then it is going by default fixed. If I go to select the VHD set, then we have only option to select fixed size or dynamically expanding. There is no option for differencing. So when you create the disk, then you have these types. Now there is a differencing type. What is this? Fixed size will use the whole size, whatever the size we give, it will allocate the whole size from our real disk. Dynamically expanding, that means it will use only the space which is required. Otherwise it will not use or allocate the space from our local hard disk. But what the differencing do? So differencing is the type of the disk associated in the parent-child relationship with another disk that you want to leave intact. You can make changes to the data or operating system without affecting the parent disk, so that you can revert the changes easily. All children must have the same virtual hard disk format as the parent, that is VHD or VHDX. So basically it do what? It creates a parent disk, and we can use this parent disk to create multiple child disks, multiple childs. Now those childs will get the disk from the parent, the copy of the parent disk. Now whatever the changes we do in the child, it will not affect the parent disk. The parent disk will remain intact, and then we can make the changes under the child disk. Now what is the benefit of using this differencing disk? So basically that differencing disk we use to do the easy deployment of multiple machines. For example, I want to deploy multiple machines as the same configurations. So what I can use a differencing disk. Now what that do actually? First, suppose we create a first disk that will be our parent disk. Now what they do, in this parent disk we install the operating system and whatever the software we need. Like for example, I need all the machine must have this particular software, so I will install that software also. Whatever the configuration I need, I will do that configuration into disk. Now what I will do, I will make this parent disk intact by setting it as a read only. So when I configure it as a read only, then no changes will be done here. Now what I will do, I will make a differencing disk out of it. Now remember, when it is installed the operating system, applications, all that, the disk size will increase. For example, now the size of this disk is 10 GB. Now what? I will create the differencing disk, that means the child of this parent disk. So I will create one child of this disk, like this is the differencing disk I create. Now what this disk will get? It will get the copy of this all configurations. That means the operating system, the applications, configurations, everything will be there in this. Now I will use this disk to create a virtual machine. Now when I start the virtual machine, it will have all these configurations, everything which is under the parent disk, and we don't need to install anything. Now that means what I will get the easily without installing anything and configuring anything, I get the machine ready here. Now same as this, I can create multiple child disks. So suppose if I want to create 3 machines with the same configuration, same operating system application, then what it will have to do, it will take a lot of time to create the machine, then install the machine, then configure the machine. But here I just have to create the differentiating disk here, and then I have to use this disk to create the virtual machine. And when I start the virtual machine, this virtual machine will be ready to use. That means it will be easy to deploy. It will become easy for deploying these machines quickly. So we can quickly deploy 3 or 4 or 5 or multiple machines by using this single parent disk. Then whatever the changes we do here in these machines, whatever extra configuration we do, application we install, this will not affect this parent disk. Parent disk will remain intact because we have already configured it to read only, and even if it is not intact, it will not change here. It will remain, the changes will remain only on this child disk. So it will be easy for us to revert the configuration back to the basic configuration. Suppose if something goes wrong here in this virtual machine, then what I will do, I will just delete the this differentiating disk and I will create new. That will get me the first default configurations, the operating system and everything. And one more thing, this parent disk size is 10 GB, but this differentiating size will not get the 10 GB. It will not use the whole 10 GB here also. It will use only suppose 4 MB, 5 MB, 400 MB. Because it is only having the changes, nothing else. So the main configuration will remain in this parent disk. So the size of the differentiating disk will also be smaller than the much less than this parent disk, because it is having only the changes. So this is a benefit of using the differentiating disk. But there is a drawback. If you use multiple parent child disk or differentiating disk from the single parent, then it will reduce the performance. It will reduce the performance of these virtual machines because they are getting the main operating system or main configurations from the single parent. So it will reduce performance. It will reduce the performance. So that is the differentiating disk. Now consideration for virtual disk formats and type. So before creating any virtual disk, what should be the consideration? First, create VHDX virtual hard disk unless you need backward compatibility with Windows Server 2008 or Windows Server 2008 RP. That means we create only the VHD format when we have all the machines in our environment is 2012 or 2016 server. If we have the other old servers in our environment and we want to have the backward compatibility, then we will not create .vhdx. We will always create VHD format. Then dynamically expanding VHDX formatted virtual hard disk is suitable for production workload because it reduces the size of the physical storage, because it will not take the whole storage size. Then the free space shown by the dynamically expanding virtual hard disk is not equal to the physical free space, because it will not use the whole space available. So it will do what? It will use only the space which is required. So the free space which we see in the virtual disk is not equal to the the physical free space. Then multiple layers of differentiating disk decreases the performance. As I said, if you create multiple differentiating disk, then what? It will reduce the performance also. And if you modify the parent disk, the differentiating disk is no longer valid. Remember, if suppose we change anything in the parent disk, then the differentiating disk will be invalid. And that is why we do what? We set the parent disk as a read only. Then we can relink. You can relink a differentiating disk to a parent disk again. So whenever if it is relinked or if it is not linked, so we can relink the parent disk also, child disk to the parent. Then fiber channel support in Hyper-V. Then we have the fiber channel support also in Hyper-V that allows the virtual machine to connect to a fiber channel SAN storage directly, and require this Hyper-V host to have a fiber channel HBA. and requires the fiber channel HBA driver to support the virtual fiber channel also. So if suppose we are having the fiber channel SAN environment storage, then we can do what? We can use that to create or store the virtual machine also. And for that we can also we can configure the virtual machine to use that fiber channel also. Now, where to store the VSDs? So storage performance is a critical factor in virtual machine performance. So if the virtual machine is able to get the virtual hard disk quickly, then they can give you the more performance. So the performance of the virtual disk, the virtual machine, depends that how fast it is getting the storage. So storing the virtual disk is important, that where you should store the virtual disk. So we have to consider these following planning for storing the virtual storage, for storing the virtual hardware, virtual hard disk or virtual storage for the virtual machine. First, high performance connectivity to the storage. So if we are using the centralized storage or shared storage, then we must make sure that it must have the high performance connectivity. Then redundant storage. Then the storage where we are storing the virtual machine storages must be redundant. It is not like it is in the single hard disk, and when we lose the disk, we lose the whole data. High performance storage must be there that provide the performance throughput. Then adequate growth space also. That means if we require, then we can increase the storage also. Storing virtual machine on SMB 3.0 shares also. Now we can store the virtual machine storage into share folder also. So right now in Server 2012 or 16 we have SMB version 3.0 and it is available in Windows Server 2012 and later. So Hyper-V can store the following on this SMB 3.0 file share, that is configuration files, virtual hard disk and checkpoints. That means all the files related to the virtual machine we can store it on the share folder. Scale out file server. This provides the highly available file shares and has the storage quality of service policies also. So we can create the virtual machine, we can create the share folder for storing the virtual machine files, and we can store the virtual machine files into the share folder. That means if we want to store the files in the share folder, so first we have to create the share folder. For that we'll go to this file and storage shares, and under the shares we can see all the share folders here. And if you want to create a share for the virtual machine, then we can go for the task new share, and here we have option to create the SMB share for application. Now this profile creates an SMB file share with setting appropriate for Hyper-V, certain databases and other server application. So if we want to use the share folder for storing the virtual machine files, then we will create the share folder with this option, that is SMB share with application. Then we'll go next and we'll create just like we create the normal share. We can mention this as a name, and then in this you can see we can't enable this access based enumeration, we cannot allow the caching also, but we can encrypt the data. So these options are not available because this folder, this share is only for the virtual machines or applications. And then we can provide the permissions, and then this is the share created. So this is what we created the share. Now we can do what? We can move our storage of the virtual machine to this share folder so that it will be available for everyone who want to access the share storage. Then we have managing the storage. We have a differencing. So creating the differencing disk based on an existing disk by using both Hyper-V Manager and Windows PowerShell. So we can do what? We can create the differencing disk by using the Hyper-V Manager, and also we can do it from the PowerShell. So what it is actually? So first the parent disk will be there, and with the help of that parent disk, what we can do? We can create the child disks. So parent VSD remains intact as if it was read write protected, and a child are unique and individual. Any changes, installs, upgrades, save data and so on will be returned to the child VSD. Deleting the VM and its child VSD does not delete the delete or affect the parent VSD. So how we can do that? If you want to do it from the PowerShell, then this is the command to create new VSD. Mention the path size and mention it as a dynamic. Then what we'll do, we'll create a VM from it, and we install the VM, we will install the operating system into it. That will be our template VM, and with that template VM we can create multiple differentiating disks. So under the template VM we install the operating system. Now after installing the operating system, what we will do, we want to protect the parent disk. So that we do what, we will set the parent disk value as a read only value as a true, so that it will not be changed, it will not do any, it will not accept any changes. And after that we can create the differentiating disk. We can create multiple differentiating disks with it, and then with the help of that differentiating disk we can create the virtual machine. So here under the Hyper-V, what I have already done, I have already created the disk, and on that disk I have already installed the operating system. This is my template, and I have already installed the Hyper core server and into it. In this template I have already installed the core server. Now what I have to do first, I have to set this set the disk of this template VM as a read only, so that nobody can do any changes on it. So what I will do, I will open the PowerShell here, and I will set the item property, and this is the disk of that template VM which is under the, and this is my parent disk. So this disk I will set the value, read only value, to true. So I am setting the read only value on this parent disk so that nobody can do the changes on it. Now that means what, if suppose anyone try to start this machine, it will fail. It says there is no permission here because I have set it to the read only. Now I can use the disk of this virtual machine, template virtual machine, to create the other differentiating disk, and for that I will use the command for PowerShell, or I can create it from here also. I can create from the graphical. I can go on to select the differentiating disk. I will go for VHD. I will go for differentiating, and here it is asking me the path, name and the path for my disk, and then it is asking for the disk where you want to, where is your parent disk. It is asking for the parent disk. So we can go on to create it from the command line, from the Hyper-V manager, or we can do it from the commands also. So command line is the PowerShell command is easy, and PowerShell command is that to new VHD and mention the parent VHD path, and then create the new disk from it and mention what the type difference. So I want to create new VHD parent path. I will mention the parent disk path which is under this VM VHD parent win1. This is the parent, and this is the new one I am creating. A new one I will create under VM diff1, and in this I will create win differentiating 1 dot vhdx, and the type will be differentiating. so the type will be differential. Now just like this I can create other disk also, I can create multiple disk also. Just like this I can create multiple disks, like I will create 2 under the 2. So I created 2 differentiating disks, and that differentiating disk is here. First, the parent disk is this. This is the parent disk, and the size of the parent disk is almost 7 GB. And the differentiating disk I created here in this diff1. And what is the size? So the size is only 4 MB. And one more is here, and the size is also 4 MB. Now we can use this disk to create a new virtual machine. Now that is also we can do it from the PowerShell, or we can do it from Hyper-V Manager. So I'll go here and I will create new virtual machine. Next, this machine will be my diff VM1. Whatever generation 1 or 2. I'm mentioning 512 byte. I will connect it to this. Then I will not use the new disk, I will use the existing one, and I will browse to select the differentiating one. So the differentiating disk is here, diff1, and remember the size of the disk is only 4 MB. Next, and finish. Now the new VM which we created, we have not installed any operating system into it, but when I start this, okay, now again the memory issue. I have to remove the dynamic memory. Okay, now I will try again. And now it is running. It was not running because in my real machine I was having only 2 GB RAM, so I increased the RAM. Now it is running here, and remember we have not installed anything here, but it is going to use the parent disk for the basic configuration. So installation is there in the parent disk, so it will have that installation also, and it is starting now. And you see there is no, we have not installed anything, but it is ready. It is starting. It is starting with the installation, and it is getting the installation from the parent disk, and it is going to boot into a core server, because in the template VHD we have installed the core version, so it is going to start as a core. So this is the benefit of using the differentiating disk. Easy to deploy. We can deploy multiple virtual machines easily and quickly by using the parent-child relations. But again, if we use multiple, then it can reduce the performance also. And we see it is starting the core server. So this is the benefit of using the differentiating. The next type of network in Hyper-V we have. So we use the virtual switch manager to create the different type of network. We have internal, external, and private. External, that means we select the external when we want our virtual machine to connect the physical network and the physical servers outside of our host. And this internal, when we want only the virtual machine should connect to each other and also the host. Then we select private only, that will connect only the virtual machine itself to another virtual machine. It will not connect the host or any other physical servers. Then we can also use the VLAN configuration to tag the data into VLAN ID, so that when it goes outside of the network, outside of the host, then it can go to the physical switch by using the tagging of VLAN. So it will tag the VLAN ID there, so that the physical switches can understand that data is for which VLAN. Then we can capture the data traveling through the switch, we can filter the data traveling through the switch, and we can do this we can do this from the Hyper-V virtual switch manager. We can select to create external, internal, or private. From there, then what are the best practices for configuring the Hyper-V virtual network? So when you configure the virtual network, first use the NIC teaming on the Hyper-V host to ensure the connectivity to virtual machine if an adapter fails. NIC teaming is a configuration to configure multiple physical adapter, combine multiple physical adapter to use them as a single adapter or single network. That will give the redundancy for the virtual machine. Then enable the bandwidth management to ensure that no single virtual machine is able to monopolize the network interface. So under the virtual machine configuration, switch configuration, we have the option to manage the bandwidth. So we should manage the bandwidth that only one machine should not use the whole bandwidth. Use the network adapters that support the VMQ, virtual machine quality of service, to manage the service of quality of the network. Then use the network virtualization when you have to ensure that virtual machine keep their original IP addresses after migrating to a new host. So we use the network virtualization so that one machine, when we move the machine from one server to one Hyper-V server to other server, then it will not change the IP address of that server. Then we can new Hyper-V networking features we have in 2016. That is what? First, quality of service for software defined network. We have virtual machine multi-queues. Then we have the RDMA for virtual machine switches, virtual switches. Then we have the switch embedded teaming also, that adapter must be identical so that we can do the teaming under the virtual machine switches. We can create by using the new VM switch, by using this command, new VM switch, name of the virtual machine switch, and then network adapters, whatever the adapters we want to use, like NIC1, NIC2, NIC3. We can also use the NAT virtual switch. For that we can create the new VM switch with the name of that, whatever the name, the type we will mention as a NAT, and the subnet address we can mention it, whatever that address we have.